All right, so here we are. Thank you, Charlie, and thank you, Charlie, for, I think it's a big part of why we're all here, and a lot of what's exciting about being here. This is an extraordinary moment for me, for us all to be together. It's an extraordinary moment, and I feel the extraordinariness of that moment, and yet the practice of mindfulness, of meditation, also reminds us that it's also an ordinary moment, that it has both of those qualities. But I am very much taken, and with Philippe Goldin here, who's going to share with us some pretty interesting stuff, with the extraordinariness of this moment. Last night, Charlie talked about how 20 years ago in Dharamsala there was a collection, a coming together of scientists and meditators interested in talking about the connection between the two. 20 years ago, many of you probably were just coming out of diapers. Some of you were practicing for maybe 20 years or more. I was in law school, and I was studying the nature of the evolution of law, of Supreme Court decisions, and how when they came out, it changed the landscape of the future of the law and of life, and how they even had retroactive application. And in that 20-year period of time, so much has happened in the neuroscience and the technology and our ability to understand those very processes of the brain. Now, 100 years ago or more, we didn't know a whole lot about the makeup of this brain. We really didn't. Was it a bunch of neurons? Was this big connection of fiber? It wasn't until a man named Golgi, sitting in a little lab somewhere, and I believe it was through serendipity, had a little bit of silver oxide rub against some brain tissue, and something miraculous happened. That big bundle of nerves, that big bundle of neurons, just sort of like woven in there that you couldn't really make out. A subset of those neurons began to arise in relief and became visible. And we learned that there were individual neurons. We here are interested in contemplative practices and understanding the mind. And the silver oxide of that process very much is the breath. Because it is through the breath that we begin to gain insight into what arises out of mind. Thoughts, to see the individual thought perhaps arising out of the mind, the way Golgi saw the individual neuron arising out of the brain. And we have here today Philippe Goldin, who's going to bring together the two of us. That's what he does. The activity of the brain and understanding the nature of the mind. Now, Philippe is director of the center. Well, really?
Just say Philippe from Stanford.
Philippe from Stanford. But I do want to say this about Philippe.
From San Francisco.
Philippe from Stanford. Philippe from planet Earth, along with the rest of us. That is right? I will say this about Philippe, because I think this is really important about what's special and ordinary about this moment. 20 years ago, the meditators and the researchers and the scientists, they didn't necessarily know a whole lot about each other, about their inner worlds. Today, that's changed. Philippe has an immersion as a student and a practitioner in the contemplative practice, as well as a researcher in it. And also, many of you, like me, might spend a lot of your time, reading about this interesting stuff in articles and book chapters. It's sort of hearsay. It's one step removed from what's really going on. But here we have somebody who really is the eyewitness to that phenomena, and who will share with us a little bit more about the insight of who we are and the richness of our lives as lawyers and legal professionals. So please, welcome me and join me. Welcome me.